Welcome back to the Patriots Real-Time Report. I am your host, Theo Diesenhaus, and with the recent news of Caden Wallace being traded to the Miami Dolphins, I thought, why not take a look back at the disastrous 2024 Patriots draft? So let's get right into it. With the first pick that the Patriots had in the 2024 draft, the Patriots went up and selected franchise quarterback Drake May. So there's nothing to be upset about with this pick. May, 23 MVP votes last year, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 4,000 plus yards, led the team to the Super Bowl. A-plus pick. If you stop the grading here, you'd have an A-plus draft. And Elliott Wolf wishes he stopped the draft here because after this, he took 7 more players, which 1, 2, 3 of them are not in the NFL 2 years later. All right, the next player was Jalen Polk, the receiver out of Washington. They take him with the 37th pick in the draft. And through the first 5 games, Polk looked like a good player. He had a catch in each of those games. And then, of course, came the infamous Miami scene where in the late stages of a Patriots-Dolphins game in Week 5, Jacoby Brissett found Jalen Polk in the back of the end zone where he got 2 feet in, but he did not get the second heel in, which by NFL rules is not a touchdown. So the play was called back. The Patriots ended up not scoring and losing the game 15-10. Polk later took to social media to cry about the decision by the referees. And from that point on, Polk, I believe, had 2 catches for just a little north of 10 yards. His final stat line was 12 catches, 87 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And that was it for the NFL career. He separated his shoulder in the Week 1 preseason game against the Commanders and never played football again. He was also traded to the Saints. Important to mention that, but he never played for the Saints. Caden Wallace today, the inspiration behind this video, was traded to the Miami Dolphins for a late round 2027-2028 pick swap. Patriots received, I think, a 2028. Yeah, the Patriots received a 2028 6th-round pick, and the Dolphins received a 2029 7th, and Caden Wallace. Wallace didn't do much here, and when he started 2 games for the team at both tackle positions. He had PFF grades below 50, I believe, in both of those games, one of which he allowed 12 pressures, the other 9. So, a very unsuccessful and uninspiring career for Caden Wallace. He ended up moving to guard and never doing anything there. Lagan Robinson, he started more games than Caden Wallace, but it wasn't impressive. By the end of the season, he earned himself a 41.9 pass block grade per PFF. And while PFF grades aren't everything, they don't paint the full picture. 41.99 paints a pretty good picture. He allowed 33 pressures on 170 pass blocking opportunities. I'm not a mathematician, but that is bad. Javon Baker followed him up just 7 picks later. And this is the pick that I think, well, Polk probably defines the draft class, but Javon Baker is right next to him in why this was such a failure. The Patriots, when they traded back for Polk, ended up getting the 37th and the 110th pick in the draft. Javon Baker had 4 targets all year long. He only appeared in 7 games, started 1 as a Patriot. He had 1 catch for 12 yards against the Bills. And that was it. Baker was a headache in the locker room, and the popcorn never was eaten, and the people in the wheelchairs remained in wheelchairs. Marcellus Dial was the next pick. He tore his ACL in 2025, but he had a pretty solid 2024. He's the only player other than Drake May on the team. He's probably going to get cut because it doesn't look like he has a real shot for the cornerback 4, 5, or 6 spot right now. So it looks like he's going to get cut, like I said, and that's going to be the end of his Patriots career. The last 2 picks, Joe Milton was okay in the preseason, shined in the last regular season game, and then was traded to the Dallas Cowboys for another late round pick swap. He still isn't that good of a player, and he requested a trade, and for a guy that was supposed to come in here, and not so much as like a Jalen Polk where it was like, oh, this guy is going to be a high character, he's going to be a leader of your team, and then he's just the opposite. Milton was never looked at as that big of a leader, but he was looked at as a guy that could command the room, and he was the opposite. And then last but not least, Jaheim Bell, tight end out of Florida. The next Jonnu Smith was not the next Jonnu Smith. And Jaheim Bell did not work out in New England. He barely could get on the field. I thought he should have got cut in the preseason of 2024. He did not, but he was cut the next season. So that wrapped up a pretty unsuccessful, to say the least, draft class. But at the end of the day, if you asked myself in 2020, my 2024 self, Theo, would you have rather had Drake May be a complete bust, or have Jalen Polk, Caden Wallace, Layden Robinson, Javon Baker, Marcellus Dial, Joe Milton, and Jaheim Bell be serviceable NFL players with maybe one or two of them be great? I would say I'd rather have Drake May. So in the end of the day, the Patriots were in the Super Bowl last year, and none of the other guys outside of Caden Wallace and Marcellus Dial were in the Super Bowl, and it's because of Drake May. I'm Theo Diezenhaus, and this was the Patriots Real-Time Report.